what if they get angry with me? What if I say the wrong thing? What if the moon is hollow? What if the moon's made of cheese? What if the moon comes crashing down? You don't know until you try.
Welcome to the Mindset, Money and Marketing Podcast, hosted by me, Dean Seddon. This is the definitive podcast to help you build your brand, win clients, and dominate your market.
So thank you for joining me. We're going to be talking about hot prospects tonight. What are they? How to find them? The different types of hot prospects as well. So we're going to do this. And just to say, I'm going to talk about quite a lot of stuff here tonight. And if you don't kind of manage to get all the notes down of what I'm going to tell you, where to find them, do drop me a message because I will literally put this on a cheat sheet for you that you can just review as well. So do message me if you want that. So we'll see how many people come. I think it's just hit 7 o'clock, so so we might be on summer holiday time. Who knows? But one of the things that most people miss on LinkedIn is that, you know, it is a relationship platform, but there are people who are ready to buy on the platform right now. So there are people currently investigating buying services that you provide or products that you provide right now on the platform. And most people don't know how to find them or haven't thought about where they might be. And so what we're going to talk about tonight is what I call hot prospects. And I'll explain what they are, why you should have a little plan for them. It shouldn't be your whole strategy for LinkedIn, but you should have a little plan for them. And then the two different groups I categorize hot prospects into and how to find them. So that's what we're going to do. And literally, I'm going to walk you through it tonight. So that's what we're going to do. And again, if you don't get all of the notes from this, message me. I'm recording it so I can do a transcript afterwards to give to people. So okay, let's just start with what I classify as hot prospects. So in a LinkedIn context, a hot prospect, the concept of a hot prospect is they are somebody obviously who fits your target market, but are more easy to convert. So low-hanging fruit, shall we say. So a hot prospect is relevant, but potentially a low-hanging fruit. Now, just to put this in context, if you had 1,000 potential clients, right, we're talking about 3 or 4% maybe could be hot prospects active looking to buy at the moment. Yeah, they're relevant, they're easy to get to, and they're probably relevant to buy right now. So we're not talking about all your market being this. We're talking about a tiny slither of your market that are probably low-hanging fruit. And so in a LinkedIn context, there will be people on the platform right now that are easy to reach or potentially ready to buy. And that's what I'm talking about when we're thinking about what is a hot prospect. So I have a dedicated amount of time each week to go and look for these hot prospects. And I make an effort and take time to do that. I diarize time to go, let's go and look for those hot prospects. So I'm going to walk through how I do it, the different ways I do it, the different types I look for. But why should you do this? Why should you do this? And like I said, hunting down low-hanging fruit is not your primary LinkedIn strategy, but it is something that you can do a little bit of all the time. So it's not something that goes, actually, I'm doing all the other stuff, I'll ditch everything else. I'll just do this. What you'll want to do is put this alongside and you'll get some easier wins. So what's a hot prospect? Easy to reach, right person easy to reach, or right person ready to buy. So why do you do it? Because they're easy to convert. So there's people on the platform right now that are probably easy to convert. We just don't have a mechanism. We'll talk about this later. You don't have a mechanism maybe to convert them, or you don't know how to find them. And, you know, I'll just say this kind of because At the moment, there's a lot of people who are celebrating their wins on LinkedIn. And I don't know whether their wins are true. Just remember, LinkedIn is social media, so only half of what you see is true. So just remember that. But it is true that LinkedIn has got more difficult over the years. So literally, if you rewind maybe 6 or 7 years, I've been on LinkedIn for 13 years, I think it is, or 11 years, I can't remember. You could message people maybe 6-7 years ago with the most crappiest message ever, and you'd actually get some responses. One of my first strategies I would use with LinkedIn, and this shows you how old it was. What I used to do, you can still do this to some extent, but it's not very effective anymore, is I used to once a month download my LinkedIn connections. And at that time, when you downloaded your LinkedIn connections, you could literally get the email addresses of the people you're connected with. And I used to just set up a MailChimp. This is what I used to do a few years ago. It still works now, but it's not as effective. I'd just do this really chilled out message and send it to all the new connections that I had, and said, it was something along the lines of, it's great to be connected. Love to find out a bit about your business. Tell you a bit about what we do. You never know, there might be something that we could do. Are you free? It was such a really low-key message. I'd get like 100 and odd new connections every month, something like that back then. And I'd get 13, 14 people say, yeah, when you're free. And it still works now, believe it or not. And most people don't do stuff like that because they feel like it's a bit pushy, a bit forward. And I get it. And I don't do it in that way anymore. But what I'm trying to illustrate is LinkedIn is a more competitive, more noisy, more tough environment than perhaps it was a few years ago. But one of the things about these hot prospects is finding the low-hanging fruit can kind of G you up a little bit. I know it does with me when I start these conversations with people. So what I wanted to do, I've got about 6 or 7 different groups, different ways, and I'm going to go through each one, explain it, how it works, and then, like I said, I'll do a little cheat sheet. I'm recording this, so I'll do a little cheat sheet, and then anybody who wants it, it'll have it all there with the instructions. Okay, so let's talk about these hot prospects and where they are, and let's divide them up into 2 groups. So there's 2 groups of hot prospects. There's the intent-based prospects. In other words, they're showing interest in a service or product that you can supply. It doesn't have to be your product. It could be a competitor's product, but it's basically they're showing interest. So that's the first group of people. In other words, there's some buying interest. You may not be connected to them. They may not know who you are, but they're showing some interest. Then there's the next group, which is the proximity group. So the proximity group are people who are potentially hanging around you that are easy to message or easy to strike up a conversation with. So just to recap, intent is based on they're interested in a service, may not be yours, but it's a similar service to yours or a similar topic or what have you. And then there's the proximity, which is people around you that are the right people that maybe you've not seen or not spotted. So let's go through them one by one. We'll deal with the proximity ones first, right? So the proximity ones are they probably the closest ones to you. So they're the easiest ones to get a conversation. So I'm going to put the sexiest ones in this list at the end, and the less sexy ones, I said the boring ones then, the less sexy ones at the beginning. So in other words, the best ones I'm saving until last. Okay, so on the proximity ones, right? If you're posting content on a regular basis, you've got people coming to your profile and they're checking you out. Now, interestingly, people who check your profile are curious about who you are. Now, every message you send, every connection request you send, everything that you do basically drives people to your profile. So if you're going through your profile, you need premium to do it properly. Premium, you can literally go and look through your profile views, and this sounds really cringe, but it works really well. Literally, if somebody's viewed your profile and they're the right fit for you, go and connect with them and say, "Spotted you viewed my profile. Are you open to connecting?" And you'd be surprised how many people will actually do it. And then when they connect, you can say like a thank you. But one of the simplest things is just out of curiosity, how did you find me? And just ask them straight, how did you find me? If you want to get a bit more pointed, you can literally say, well, thanks for connecting. This is how I help people like you. Just out of curiosity, why did you check out my profile? But you'd be surprised how many people will actually do that and talk to you just because of that, because they viewed your profile. Now, is this the best out of the list? No, save the best till last. But it's a simple thing you can do every day, and you'd be surprised how many conversations you get with the right people off that. But what drives most of your profile views, the majority of your profile views, is two things. Number one, you outbound engaging. So if you know me fairly well, you'll know I'm also a co-founder of an AI tool that helps you engage with people more efficiently. It's not robo-commenting, but message me if you want to know the details of that. But outbound engaging will drive more profile views, but also hyper-relevant content. And I'm going to give you a little tip here, right? One of the ways you can trigger a lot of engagement and a lot of profile views from ideal clients is to actually start posting your posts in active groups. Now, groups have been a bit crappy on LinkedIn for a few years, but there's a few groups, there's probably thousands of them that are brilliant. And so what you can do is start posting in those groups. Even if it's not promotional, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be promotional. But people will start to look at your profile. And so what you're doing is basically using a group to draw attention to yourself, not promoting, but people's morbid curiosity. They come back and look at your profile. Your profile's optimized for within an inch of its life to capture leads, to educate people on what you do. And then as you see the profile view, you literally go and connect and start that process. So using your profile views as a way to connect with people and then start a conversation with them about how did they find your profile, and have that conversation is really, really quick. You can be a bit more pointed and literally give them like a one-pager on say, hey, thanks for connecting. Not sure if it's relevant for you. This is what I do. Let me know if there's any way I can help. It can be that low key. But it's a simple thing to do with your profile views. Now, the other one, and I kind of hinted at it here, with the sexy ones I'm saving till the end, is content engagement. So I think I've got, I saw him here. Lobsang's here, right? So Lobsang's here. I've never met Lobsang. I'll just pick on him for a minute. I've never met him, right? But I've got to know him and he's got to know me through commenting on posts. Yeah. You'd be surprised how effective that is if you consistently engage with some prospects and build up. You can deliberately build a relationship in about 7 or 8 comments. And then you can have a really good conversation with somebody. Yeah. And Lobsang's love heart in here because he knows that's his key to success as well. So just simple things like who's engaging with your posts? Who are you engaging with? Who are you interacting with? And I don't mean just, I'll go and comment once on a load of my prospects' posts and expect the world to change. I mean, could you sow a load of seeds right now and literally, in 2 weeks' time start to reap them? They're the hottest prospects you'll get because they'll respond, they'll open, they'll speak to you because you're interacting with them. So content engagement is another one. So that's an easy one. Now, the active groups. Now, we hinted about this before where I said post in active groups. The groups themselves, one of the best things I've done to find leads, particularly leads who need what I sell, is putting polls inside very active groups. And there's some groups I like to use. One of them is the Brain Expansion group. That group is brilliant. I'm not posting it in ages, actually. Well, say a few months. There's a Chief Executive Network group. That's brilliant for me. There's a digital marketing group. And I've found those groups to be absolutely brilliant for finding my prospects. And I write polls that are both interesting polls, but they give me a steer about what the voters' priorities are. I call them loaded polls. So the poll isn't, will you buy my service, yes or no? But by the answers, and I say, I'll give you one example. What's your biggest challenge on LinkedIn? Creating content, getting engagement, generating leads, finding the time. And people vote for those answers. And I literally follow them up based on their answers. And I like to do that in groups. I like to do it on my profile. And basically people are telling me, Dean, this is my struggle. This is my challenge. And I just follow them up based on, thanks for voting on my poll. Spotted you said the challenge is lead generation. Would it help if I showed you some of the ways I generate leads consistently from LinkedIn? Happy to show you. And no catch. Go on a call with them and then see if there's any opportunity. Give them the answer, by the way. Show them what I do so I don't hide anything. But then I talk to them about how I can help them systemize it so I can make it predictable and not stressful. And they've got a system rather than just making it up as they go along. So active groups, posting polls, posting on your profile even. But if you're struggling to get engagement, polls in groups can be a great way to do this. Find a group that's got your target audience in. So, and then look at how active is the group. If there's lots of stuff happening and there's posts going in and they're getting engagement, that's a good group. And literally you could do that, let's say you found 4 or 5 groups. You could basically post the poll every week in a different group and follow up all those people. It's so easy to do. And it's so chilled out as well. That's the great thing. It's not like I'm having to twist your arm. It's like, hey, if you want this, cool. If not, no worries. So groups and using polls in groups can be really, really good. Now, this next one, it might seem a bit outdated, but it's quite effective. So you will have prospects, right, that you have mutual connections with. So one of the things about LinkedIn over the last few years is that people have actually connected with a lot of people that they know, but also a lot of people that they don't know. And so say for an example, Lobsang, I'm picking on you tonight, so apologies. But Gavin's here as well. So let's say for an example, I'm connected to Gavin. He's my ideal prospect. And I see that Lobsang is also a mutual. Now, I might have to try this with a few people. But for an example, I could message Gavin. Let me get my terminology. So Gavin's my prospect. Lobsang's just a common connection. And I might have 10 or 15 or 20 or 30 common connections. But what I might do is go to Lobsang and say, hey, Lobsang, just wanted to check, how well do you know Gavin? And I might put his profile URL in the message so that Lobsang can check and see how well do I know him. And of course, Lobsang will be mildly curious about that, what I want to know. And Lobsang will tell me, oh, I met Gavin a few years ago. I used to work with him here. Then you can say to Lobsang, if I'm being cheeky, I'd love to chat to Gavin, but I don't want to push myself on him. Would you be okay to message him and say, and intro me? And you can do that with your existing customers. And you'll be surprised, even though it's like an old school LinkedIn thing, it still works really well. It works really, really well, particularly if you do it strategically. So let's say, for an example, I'm connected to the finance director of some company and I want to talk to the marketing person. I could literally message the finance person and say, "Hi, Jim, how well do you know Sally in your marketing team?" And he went, "Oh, reasonably well. Is there any chance I can ask you? I'd love to have a chat with her, but I don't want to pester her. Is there a way you can just give me a quick intro on email so I can drop her an email and it doesn't look like I'm pushing myself on her?" You'd be surprised how many people, and this is an important point, if you ask for somebody's help, they'll probably give it you. So these are all your proximity-based hot prospects. So you've got people who are visiting your profile, people who you're already connected to that you could be engaging with, the active people in the groups using polls, and then the intro feature, which you might have thought that died with the dodo, but actually it's really effective. But you have to do it. You might have to ask for an intro to like 3 people to get the person introed. So they're all your proximity-based hot prospects. In other words, they're easy to get to. Now, the next group, and maybe when I do the little PDF afterwards with the summaries, I might do some screenshots in here of what I mean and maybe some templates. So if you want those, just message me. I'm saying all this. I'll have to get it off the notes afterwards to remember to do this because I've had a hell of a busy week. But I'll do it. I won't do it tonight because it's 7:30 here nearly. But I'll do it tomorrow and send it to anybody who messaged me for it. So the next group of hot prospects are what we call intent prospects. In other words, they're exhibiting some form of interest in a service similar to yours. So it might be a competitor's service, it might be the topic, but there's an interest. Now, obviously, one of the things that many people don't realize is that you can search LinkedIn across LinkedIn, free and premium, and you can find things by keywords. So for an example, in that top bar on LinkedIn, I can search for digital marketing, and I can search for people talking about digital marketing, but also I can use what's called Boolean search, and I can search the whole platform for people asking for recommendations for digital marketing or recommendations for social selling. And so you can put a Boolean string together and literally search the whole platform for anybody posting or talking about looking for recommendations for social selling or looking for recommendations on Google Ads or looking for recommendations for a copywriter or looking up for recommendations on a mindset coach. You can put those searches in and literally find all the people who've posted about it. And some of those posts will be old, some of them will be new, but I would look at all of those posts and look through all of them and connect with everybody anyway, because atypically people who need digital marketing now, even if they've found somebody, will probably need somebody in the future. So you can search the platform using Boolean search. In the search bar, put literally digital marketing and recommendations as a search term. You have to put speech marks around recommendations and digital marketing so that you end up with recommendations and digital marketing. Flip it to posts and it will show you all the people using recommendation and digital marketing in one post, and it will show you all the posts. So you have to think about it from the point of view of like, what would my prospects say on a post? So you're writing the keywords that you're searching for in their terms rather than in your lingo. But if I just do one quick whilst you're all here, I know you can't see it, but and I put recommendations and social selling, and then what I've done is I've looked for posts, and I've got literally, it's come up with, I'm scrolling. There's a ton of posts there looking for recommendations, and then I could also recommend and social selling, and it will show me all the posts that are using those keywords. So it's really, really simple to do, and you can search through the whole platform and find people just by looking at what they're posting about. Dead simple. So dead simple thing. Search the platform. Now, whilst we're talking about that, searching the platform, and you might not like this one. I never used to like this one. And then I went, sod it. Sorry for my language. I'm a Northern British person, so I'm as rough as they come. Right? But I got a little peed off with this one. And then I went, do you know what? If people are doing it to me, I don't care. Right? So I put up events. I've found, and it started me getting really frustrated, that I ended up with competitors coming to my events and basically stealing, if that's the word, people from my events. So people will sign up for how to find hot prospects on LinkedIn, and then you'd have another LinkedIn competitor literally scraping my event and saying, "Oh, I saw you went to Dean's social selling at Hot Prospects event. I can show you how to do this." Now, I don't agree with pitching people like that, but obviously, if people are signing up for my event, they're interested in finding hot prospects on LinkedIn. So it is like a pool of people that other LinkedIn people would probably want to feed off. And I had a real problem with this because it used to annoy me. And then I was like, I don't care anymore. If people are doing this to me, why can't I do it? What's the point in kind of playing by rules that nobody else plays by? It's not a crime. And, it's a free-for-all. I can't really stop it. But you can literally search the platform for events by keyword. And you can look through and find what events are there and literally go and find them all. So, it's like dead easy. Why would you not do it? And you can find people who are interested in a particular topic. And it's like, it's an absolute no-brainer. Why would you not do it? Why would you not go and do that approach? It makes absolute sense to do it. So you literally go to the search bar, put a keyword in, speech marks. If it's 2 words, put the speech marks around it to contain it. And then you literally just go and look for the events. And away you go. Dead simple. I found an event here. Why would I not use it? Why would I not do it? It makes absolute sense to do it. So it's dead simple. Go and find events. And then when you sign up for the event, when you register for the event, you can see who else is going. Makes absolute sense to do it. Highly recommend you do it because you'll find people who are interested in what you're talking about. Somebody who's going to an event talking about coaching. Somebody who's going to an event about copywriting. Somebody who's going to an event about imposter syndrome. It makes perfect sense that they're the people you want to connect with because they're people who are interested in exactly what you're offering. So, dead simple. Number 1, get to those events, find those events, do the recommendations and search the feed for the recommendations. Now, the next one. Depending on who your audience is and who you want, right? One of the things you can do, and again, this is another, it's another kind of, there's nothing wrong with it, but it in some senses, if you did this in real life, it would be bad etiquette, but in social media, it's a free-for-all, is you've got influencers walking, posting and gathering huge, big crowds. So, in a given week, I'll have probably something like 10,000 people, 10,000 engagements, likes, comments, reposts, all that kind of stuff. Now, if my audience is your audience, why would you not network in those comments with the people who are there? Like, if you look at Justin Welsh's posts, and Justin Welsh is he's a big gun on LinkedIn, and you look at Justin Welsh's posts, and he's like the LinkedIn guru, build a business guru kind of guy. Used to be in big tech. But if you look in his comments, it's full of LinkedIn people basically networking with business owners. His comments are full of LinkedIn gurus and copywriting gurus and marketing gurus networking with business owners. And Justin Welsh, I don't know this for certain. I've not spoke to him about it. But I don't think he cares that people do that. I really don't think he cares, and I don't think most people do. I don't care if people do it. And I'll tell you why I don't care. Because if those business owners have conversations with people in my comments, my post goes further and further and further. And the great thing about it is, if another LinkedIn person engages in my comments and they start having conversations, guess what? They start amplifying my post to their network. So I don't care about that. I don't care that another LinkedIn person, another social selling person is going to amplify me to their audience. I love it. And so why wouldn't you do this? Why wouldn't you? I don't mean spam comment. I don't mean like pitch your services in comments. Network in the comments of influencers that have the crowd you want. So it might take you a little bit of time to go and hunt them down, but literally go and find them. Go and take the time to be in those comments and engage with those comments. I don't know whether Lobsang's still here, but Lobsang knows what I'm talking about because he'll see this every day. People who do this every single day, they're networking. And Justin Welsh and the likes don't care because you're just building that beast of their profile. The beast of their content gets bigger and bigger because suddenly people realize, hey, I can make a lot of money hanging around in his comments. And I don't know whether you saw the event I did on Monday where we talked about how Commenter AI can help you do that at pace. But Bogomil was on it and he was saying how powerful it was to actually just do that, just to hang around in the comments of people who've got a lot of traffic and network with the people. And because you get a good conversation with them, it's a much smoother process than trying to find people and warm them up from scratch. So go and find those influencers. Go and hang around in their comments and network. Not spam comment. No, don't pitch your services in the message in the comments. That'll get you blocked. But if you hang around and network with the people there, you'll be surprised how far you get and how many conversations you can get in one day. In fact, I might actually, I don't know whether anybody's up for this, I might do an outbound commenting challenge. And in that commenting challenge, I might set it as a challenge to see how many conversations you can get with your prospects in a week. So if anybody's up for that dare, I'll do it free. But if you're up for that dare and you want the accountability of having to do it, we'll do it. We'll do it in September. If people want to do it, I'll do it in September. So we'll do it like half an hour a day for like 5 days or something. So if you want to do that, message me. So the final one I want to talk about in terms of these hot prospects is, and you're not going to like this one, but I think it's the best one of all, is the Sales Navigator tools to find them. Now, I don't mean just searching for people at random. Excuse me. Sales Nav has two really cool filters that are brand new. The first one is buying intent. Now, I've talked about this before. If you go to my YouTube, there's a video about it. But LinkedIn is tracking how people study and pay attention to you. And so what they've done is created an algorithm that basically figures out when somebody's expressing an unusual level of interest in you. So it can flag up competitors, but it also flags up prospects. And so I can go on SalesNav right now and I can find companies where their teams are actively looking both at me, my company page, and potentially my website as well. And it will show me that activity. And I use that as a kind of, right, these people are exhibiting buying intent. I'm going to go in and start talking to them, whether that's email or LinkedIn, because they are exhibiting a behavior where they are researching my company. And, people say, oh, SalesNav's expensive. It is. It's dear. It's not cheap. But if you use it right, I can get a list every week of people who have checked me out, and I can focus on them, and I get much higher response rates because I'm focused on those people. So SalesNav has the buying intent where you can filter and find the companies that are paying the closest attention to you, and then you can go and follow those people up. But there's also another filter which is new, and it's still being developed, but I've used it a couple of times with prospects and it's been very effective. It's called category interest. Now, this category interest is based on a person. So what you can do is search Sales Navigator and find people based on what types of software, technology, services they are looking at and studying right now. So I did one the other day with a company that does cloud computing, and they could search for some different terms, and we found some terms. They're not all there yet. It's still rolling out, so there's some filters that it needs a few more yet. But you can search, and we could find all the people who are looking at and researching into cloud computing. And then we could filter it by the size of company, the industries, the job role, and everything. And they got about 87 people that were a perfect fit for them. And I said, right, you need to prioritize them right now. So Sales Navigator has these tips and these hints and says these people could be good for you because they're researching particular services, software, platforms, what have you. Like I said, it's brand spanking new, so there are new kind of filters being added to that all the time, but this is brand spanking new, and you can search for people looking at that stuff right now. And then the final one in SalesNav is LinkedIn obviously will learn to know who your buyer persona is. One of the reasons I bang on so much about not trying to appeal to too broad an audience on LinkedIn is because it can confuse LinkedIn and Sales Navigator as to who is actually your customer. And so then the AI of Sales Navigator can't help you. So inside Sales Nav, you can set up a buyer persona and you can save leads and all that kind of stuff. But one of the things that LinkedIn will do is as it learns who you really want, inside the leads list, LinkedIn itself will give you 100 leads that it thinks are good opportunities for you. Now, it doesn't define what that means, probably because they know more data that they can share in that sense. In other words, they know what that user's doing, but they can't tell us because of privacy. So it gives you a list of 100 leads and says, these are recommended leads by us that you should be talking to. And it gives you 100 of them every single week. Now, LinkedIn decides what is a good lead for you. And having done this, I kind of trust them that they know what they're doing because I've had quite a good amount of success actually contacting the people in the 100 leads lists. So you can go in there and literally every week it will give you 100. And your job then is to carve out the time in your diary to actually go and talk to them. Because those 100, LinkedIn is saying are nudge, nudge, wink, wink, potentially good conversations for you to have. And my experience has been they're good conversations to have. So SalesNav has got, it's money. It's expensive. It's not cheap. It starts at 79 quid, I think it is, and goes up to 115 if you want, 120 if you want all the bells and whistles. But it depends how you look at it. If you look at it as a directory that you can just search and do nothing with, it's flipping dear. But if you use it and go, well, hang on a minute, I'm going to carve out 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 3 times a week to go and take those 100, look through those events and make a decision. I'm not saying you spam message people or pitch people cold. There's lots of ways to do things without doing that. But what do you think would happen? What do you think would happen to your pipeline if you committed to say, I'm going to send in a week 50 researched and targeted outreach messages to 50 hot prospects? Let's just say 50. So that's 10 a day. 10 a day, 5 days a week, 10 messages. So you'll have a framework, but you'll tweak it a little bit for each one so it doesn't feel robotic or, copy and paste. What do you think would happen if you got 50 messages out per week to hotter prospects, i.e. people who are already in close proximity to you, who are your target audience, or are exhibiting some form of intent. Well, I know what happens, right? And I know what could happen for you. The issue you've got to overcome is, what if they get angry with me? What if I say the wrong thing? What if the moon is hollow? What if the moon's made of cheese? What if the moon comes crashing down? You don't know until you try. And I can tell you, sending 50 messages that are well thought out to people who are in close proximity to you, or people where they're exhibiting some interest, will probably give you more success than the countless hours you've spent posting to get your grandma liking it. So trust me, right? 50 messages, 10 a day. And if you could, and carve out that time, if you could set that discipline in your world, you'd have a rocking rest of the year if you're focused on hot prospects. Now, obviously, you want to develop relationships more strategically and more long-term for other things, and content can help with that. And, there's slow burn processes to nurture people. But with these people in close proximity, these people who are exhibiting some level of interest in services similar to yours or yours through SalesNav, you should be setting the time to talk to them. You'd be surprised how many times I talk to people and I say, right, you've identified some prospects. What have you done with them? And then they say, well, I posted. And they go, yeah, but have you messaged anybody? Yeah, I've messaged some people. And then when you kind of thumb scrum a bit, it's like 2. Or they go, I've had no responses to my messages. How many did you send? 2. Come on. Anyway, that's my personal little rant there, right? So hot prospects, I will do a 1-page on this because I've gone through a lot of stuff and I've gone through it quite fast there. Hot prospects are people who are in close proximity to you that are your target audience. Or their hot prospects are people who are exhibiting some interest or intent towards services like yours or your services. How do we find them? Profile visitors, number 1. Outbound content engagement. Active groups, using polls in active groups. Using the intro paths, surprisingly and scarily effective. Intent-based. Go and find the LinkedIn events that people have signed up to and see if any prospects are in there. Once you sign up, you can search through the list. Influencers, go and network in the comments. Everybody's doing it. Influencers love it because they get more visibility, engagement, and all that rah-rah. SalesNav, buying intent, category interest, 100 recommended leads per week. If you can't get, and then get 50 messages out per week, 10 a day. If you do that, you'll have more than enough opportunity at your door. Just do it. Hopefully that was helpful. I might have had a coffee just before I did this, so I probably went through this really fast. I've not even seen what time it is, but I started at 7, but because I've talked so fast, it might only be 10 past. What time is it? It's 7:45. So I want you to, you can tell I've had coffee tonight, right? So I want you to go and try that. I will do a cheat sheet. If you want the cheat sheet, message me tomorrow. I'll send it through. I'll have to kind of have audio recorded this, so I'll transcribe it, put some screenshots in there and everything. But message me and I'll send it to you tomorrow. I'm going to sign off in a second, but hopefully that's been helpful. And if you want to return the favour and go, Dean, that was really helpful, that's wonderful, please do support my content. I really appreciate it. We've got somebody... I don't know whether Kaddish... Oh, yeah. Do support my content. I really appreciate it. Though, even if you don't know what to comment sometimes, even a repost or a repost saying, I love what Dean said or something could be brilliant.
Thanks for joining me on this episode of Mindset Marketing and Money Podcasts. Don't forget to subscribe so you get notified about future episodes.